Hey, what's going on? Where are you right now? Well, I just left the house, like you said. Is there a problem? My name is Emily. I'm a 35-year-old housewife living with my in-laws. My husband Max is on an overseas assignment, so it's just me at home with them. My father-in-law had a stroke last year, leaving him with a bit of paralysis on his left side. Despite that, he's actively working on his rehab and moving his body. As a result, it took some time, but he's recovered enough to handle most of his daily activities. Originally, my father-in-law made a name for himself as an investor. Before marrying Max, I used to work at a brokerage firm, so I really admire him. Living together has given us the chance to often discuss investments and assess management, and I think we've built a very good relationship. My mother-in-law, Helen, is a person who laughs softly and never engages in what people typically call bullying. She seems delighted watching father-in-law and me discuss financial matters. Emily, it's so good for your dad to have someone to talk to. He won't be bedridden, and it looks like we won't have to worry about dementia for a while. The way mother-in-law tenderly supports father-in-law is something I aspire to. I want Max and me to be a couple like them. I really feel that way. However, lately, I've noticed that mother-in-law seems to be struggling more as she sits on the sofa. We had her tested at the hospital and found that she's getting physically weaker. Her blood pressure is also a bit high, and the doctor advised her to take it easy. Mother-in-law, you've been holding down the fort here for so long. Please, take some time for yourself. I said that as I comforted her and took over the housework. But that's not fair to you, Emily. You have to take care of Dad, too. Father-in-law can manage his showers and using the bathroom on his own. All he needs is someone to accompany him on walks and doctor visits. Emily. At this point, I came up with a proposal to reassure my mother-in-law. How about I ask Mom to join Dad on his daily walks? It'll be like a daily walking date for the two of them. I can't believe you, Emily. Well, I guess we'll take you up on your offer until I'm feeling better. Leave it to me. And so, life with my parents-in-law continued peacefully. My only concern was my sister-in-law, Sophia. Sophia constantly throws passive-aggressive comments my way. So, Emily, still no kids? Max is overseas, and these things happen when they happen. Can't even give birth to an heir. What a waste. We'll try to meet your expectations once Max is back in the country. Don't get too comfortable. I also have inheritance rights to this family's assets. It's just like that. I could directly confront her, but it's exhausting, and I don't want to upset my parents-in-law. Ignoring her gracefully is where I show my skills. Maybe Sophia thinks I married into the family to inherit my wealthy father-in-law's assets. It's common to have a mother-in-law, father-in-law feud, but in my case, it's with my sister-in-law. One day, I was having tea with my in-laws on our sunny porch. Emily, I have something to discuss with you. For the first time, mother-in-law looked serious. Yes, mother-in-law, what is it? Actually, Sophia is going to give birth soon, and she wants to temporarily stay at her parents' house to get support from our family. Oh, is it that time already? That's wonderful news. I sipped my tea as I responded. Given that your father is unwell, and have also been under the weather, making you handle the household chores, we're thinking of declining her request. I agree. It wouldn't be fair to impose more on you, Emily. My father-in-law looked genuinely concerned as he spoke. Oh, don't worry about that. I'm sure Sophia will be more comfortable at her parents' house. Besides, you two will be close by to watch over your grandchild. I'm happy to help out. Let's have Sophia come over. Upon hearing my nonchalant answer, my mother-in-law's face clouded even more. Thank you, Emily. To be honest, we'd love to have Sophia here so we can see our grandchild up close. But the way she's been treating you is truly regrettable. Your mother's not feeling her best these days either. In the end, it seems like the burden will fall on you, Emily, and that's concerning. My father-in-law also seemed to worry about me. Sophia has made snide comments to me several times, but for the sake of my in-laws, I choose not to retaliate. This has apparently led to Sophia getting more audacious, in turn causing unnecessary worry for my in-laws. Did I mess up here? Once the baby arrives, Sophia might mellow down. I'd love to see you two enjoy your grandchild. What I truly wanted to say was that I wouldn't be beaten by the likes of Sophia, but I just grinned and bore it. If you say so, then maybe it's okay to invite Sophia. I promise to take care of her as much as I can. My mother-in-law finally showed a smile. My father-in-law also seemed relieved. At first, maybe it was because the baby would be born to their biological daughter. They wanted to be close to the experience. Emily, we're truly sorry. And thank you. Both my father-in-law and mother-in-law bowed their heads. Hey, no need to bow. Let's lift our spirits. Prepare a room for sister-in-law and go shopping. I can't wait. Can I come along to choose some clothes and toys for the grandchild? All three of us laughed, wrapping up the discussion. My stay at my in-laws while sister-in-law gave birth was likely going to be just a month or two. I thought I'd just have to avoid any sister-in-law drama during that short time. That's what I thought. Until that phone call from sister-in-law. My mother-in-law quickly conveyed her consent to sister-in-law, agreeing that she could stay with the family temporarily while she gave birth. After dinner, my phone rang. It was sister-in-law. Hello, sister-in-law. How can I help you? Hey, Emily. I'm going to be staying at our parents' house for my upcoming childbirth. Yes, mother-in-law told me earlier today. Sister-in-law was speaking loudly. Maybe she was in a good mood. My in-laws paused, realizing the call was from sister-in-law, just by the voice leaking from my phone. It was loud enough for them to hear even without a speaker. So, can you get out? What? I couldn't help but raise my voice in shock. My in-laws were equally surprised and jumped a little. I don't even want to look at you. Just seeing you irritates me. Make sure you're out of the house by the time I get back. Sister-in-law, what are you talking about? Tell Mom and Dad you're going on an extended trip or visiting Max. I don't care. Just get out. I want to spend time with my family. Wait, hold on. Normally, I could easily dodge sister-in-law's barbs, but this time I was too shocked to find the right words. Once I'm back, you better come back too. You need to take care of Dad, who needs long-term care, and my weak mom. Sister-in-law! I won't take care of them. That's your job as the daughter-in-law. Be grateful I'm giving you a reason to stay in the house. That's awful. How can you say that about your own parents? Enraged by sister-in-law's cruel words, I couldn't help but shout at her. Ooh, scary. I'll just tell Dad and Mom that you yelled at their pregnant daughter. I clenched my mobile phone, and tears started to fall. Using my parents only for the birth and then ignoring them? They're such wonderful, kind people. I couldn't hold back my tears of anger and frustration. Glancing at mother-in-law, I noticed her face was red with rage, tears gathering in her eyes. In that moment, my own sister-in-law told me she wouldn't take care of her family. The frustration was overwhelming. Just then, father-in-law tugged on my sleeve. When I turned around, father-in-law had a note in hand. It's okay. We have a plan. Just agree to what Sophia is saying for now and hang up the phone." I read the note, and father-in-law patted my arm with a reassuring smile. As if to calm my nerves, his touch was light. Seeing father-in-law's smile, I felt a wave of relief wash over me. Though my insides were boiling with anger, I was able to regain my composure. "Understood. When are you planning to come back?" Maybe next Friday. Then I'll make arrangements to leave the house by that time." "You should have just listened from the start. Dealing with a stubborn sister-in-law is so tiresome." "I have to clean up after dinner, if you'll excuse me." As soon as I hung up the phone, mother-in-law broke down in tears and hugged me. "I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. To have a daughter who'd say such horrible things. I'm so sorry." Mother-in-law's tears were flowing freely. "I'm fine, mother-in-law. You must be the one feeling terrible after hearing all of that." I wasn't concerned about what sister-in-law had to say. I could silence her with logical arguments if need be. It's not a big deal. But it's hard to see my mother-in-law cry like this. "I'm really very sorry. You've been very patient," my father-in-law sighed. "Don't worry about me. What's your plan, though?" I asked him, trying to comfort my mother-in-law. "Well, turns out there's another person struggling with Sophia. We're planning to discipline her together." Another person having issues with Sophia? I was puzzled. Who else could be dealing with her? "We've only got 10 days until Sophia comes home to have her baby and seek the family support. No time for tears. We need to start planning how to handle her." "Yes, this is where you, Emily, will prove your worth." My mother-in-law wiped her tears and stood up. My worth? I had no idea what she meant. Shortly after, Evan, Sophia's husband, came to visit. "Good evening, everyone. I apologize for Sophia's terrible behavior." Evan bowed to my parents-in-law and me as he entered. "Emily, meet the other person who's been grappling with Sophia," my father-in-law said with a smile. Before joining this family, I worked in a brokerage firm, as did Evan. We knew each other professionally. I don't mind what she says about me, but I can't forgive her how she talks to you two. I vented my frustration about Sophia to my brother-in-law. He scratched his head and sighed. "Look, there's no excuse for her. Even when I tried to correct her, she loses her temper. Her already spoiled nature has gotten worse with her pregnancy. My own daughter told Emily to leave while she stays here to give birth. Can you believe it?" My mother-in-law was angrier than I had ever seen her. "I get why you and my father-in-law get along. You're in the same line of work. It seemed fun. Sophia probably just couldn't stand it." "Wait, so she's jealous because I get along with you and my mother-in-law?" I was dumbfounded. She hurt her parents this much out of petty jealousy? "And there's one more unbelievable thing." My brother-in-law began to talk about Sophia's actions. "Are you kidding me? This makes no sense." I couldn't believe my ears. My hands were shaking from anger. "I'm at a loss, too. I've even consulted with my father-in-law about what to do." My mother-in-law looked like she was throwing in the towel. At this point, I was fuming. She plans to rely on her parents' home like nothing happened. She should have been confronted head-on. In hindsight, I regretted my naivety. Father-in-law sighed, looking disappointed. "Add this latest mess to the mix, and I'm done giving her any slack. She's my daughter, but enough is enough. Your conversations with father-in-law have finally paid off." "My conversations with father-in-law? Wait a minute, you mean..." Something clicked in my mind, recalling a discussion I'd had with father-in-law in the past. "We might as well go all in. Get ready, Evan." "Yes, father-in-law." Mother-in-law finally cracked a smile. "All right, Emily. We've got a busy week to prepare everything. We're going to be busy. Absolutely, mother-in-law. Let's do this. I rolled up my sleeves and followed mother-in-law. The next Friday, as planned, sister-in-law returned home temporarily to seek family support for her childbirth. I wonder if that annoying woman finally left. Now I can just laze around here for a while. Maybe I should just move back home for good. Sister-in-law hummed as she walked onto the property. Then, right in front of the house, she dropped her bags and froze. What is this? What stood before her was, indeed, her parents' home. Well, it used to be their home. Now the gate was locked, the name plaque removed, and a for sale sign was prominently displayed. The windows were bare, and the house obviously looked abandoned. What's going on? Why is nobody here? Sister-in-law frantically called both father-in-law and mother-in-law, but neither answered. They'd had enough and blocked her number. Even social media was blocked. Why aren't Mom and Dad answering? Maybe she will... Sister-in-law seemed to get the idea to call me. Hello, sister-in-law, what's going on? I answered her desperate call, cool as a cucumber. Sister-in-law, anything but composed, started shouting right away. What's the meaning of this? My parents' house is for sale! She was loud enough that father-in-law and mother-in-law could probably hear without even needing speakerphone. I moved the phone away from my ear and replied, That house and the property have been sold. There's no place for you to temporarily stay while seeking family support for childbirth. Sold? What do you mean? We were told to leave by you, so we did. Don't joke with me. How can my parents' house be sold just because you left? Well, the house is in my name. Why keep it just for you? What are you talking about? You sold the house without telling my dad? You thief! I'll sue you! Seemingly forgetting she's pregnant, sister-in-law was yelling in a fit of rage. I let out an exaggerated sigh. Did you not hear what I said, sister-in-law? The house is in my name. So why is my parents' house in your name? That's insane! Because I bought it when father-in-law got discharged after his stroke. You bought it? Yes. Father-in-law had become somewhat downhearted after recovering from a stroke. He'd lost confidence, having stepped away from his investments during the recuperation. That's when we started talking about restructuring assets. My husband can't act quickly. He's usually abroad for work. And if we left it up to selfish sister-in-law, she'd probably only take the assets that suited her. Father-in-law, how about we liquidate all assets into cash? That would make management easier. I suggested we convert all the assets to cash, making it easier for father-in-law to manage. That's when I purchased the family home, using savings from my single days and from my husband. By putting it in my name, I took on all the tedious procedures like property taxes. We let my parents-in-law continue to live there, so they could spend the rest of their lives in the home they loved. That was until sister-in-law messed it all up. What are you doing? Where are you? We left the house, just like you asked. Anything else? Don't mess with me! Where are Mom and Dad? They'd never allow this. Sister-in-law still seems to think her parents are on her side. It's almost laughable how naive her thinking is. Father-in-law and mother-in-law are with me. We sold the house, but we've arranged another one. Then I'm coming there too. That's not possible. You're blocked by father-in-law and mother-in-law, remember? They don't want to see you. I say it coldly. Sister-in-law seems taken aback, especially when I mention being blocked. You may not have noticed, sister-in-law, but father-in-law and mother-in-law heard that phone call when you told me to leave. Sister-in-law's face visibly pales. Her earlier bravado instantly deflates. She clearly had no idea they'd heard that call. Listen, Can you tell Mom and Dad it's a misunderstanding? I'm about to have a baby. I need help. It's going to be tough postpartum. Sister-in-law changes her tune, suddenly playing the victim. That's when I play my final card. Why not ask the guy you've been cheating with for help? How do you know about that? The unbelievable thing brother-in-law told me about was sister-in-law's affair. We knew because the timing of sister-in-law's pregnancy coincided with brother-in-law's long business trip. Brother-in-law already had screenshots and other evidence of the affair. Sister-in-law had planned for brother-in-law to raise the child she was expecting with her affair partner. I gotta tell you, brother-in-law is pretty angry too. Wouldn't be surprised if you get dumped, I say in a half-joking tone. Then the phone abruptly hangs up. She's probably scrambling to call brother-in-law right now. Brother-in-law has already expressed his intentions to divorce and seek alimony. My in-laws are cutting off communication with sister-in-law and moving to exclude her from any inheritance. We're leaving our estate in the hands of Max and Emily, they decided. Emily's involvement has made it so much easier. The estate is just money now. It really simplifies the management and paperwork, they add. Father-in-law had recorded the call that angered them from halfway through. With the evidence held by my in-laws and brother-in-law, sister-in-law lost both her family and her share of the inheritance. A month has passed since. Sister-in-law and her husband Evan are now divorced. She faced indisputable evidence of her affair and was hit with a hefty settlement in divorce court. Apparently, she left the home she shared with brother-in-law, pregnant belly and all. Word is she gave birth alone and quietly, and now lives in an old public housing unit, raising the child by herself. Struggling to care for the baby on her own, she receives help from no one. Why is nobody calling me? I'm tired. I'm lonely. I'm broke, she laments. Rumor has it, even her affair partner abandoned her just before the baby was born. She hasn't been able to establish paternity or receive child support. Sister-in-law ended up living on temporary assistance for needy families while paying off the alimony debt. She has to find a job and support herself before she can start repaying her debt. When will sister-in-law ever be debt-free? If she'd truly loved and valued the in-laws, even with a child from her affair, she wouldn't have ended up alone. The child is innocent and is the first grandchild for the in-laws. If sister-in-law can genuinely apologize for her mistakes, both we and the in-laws are open to helping her. Today, I'm having tea with the in-laws in our new home. Emily, what's your take on the Willowbrook Mart? Well, I still think they will rise. What's your opinion, father-in-law? I'm inclined to think they'll go up, but I can't be sure. Father-in-law was looking puzzled when mother-in-law peeked at the papers. Oh, talking about Willowbrook Mart. They're really popular right now for their new desserts, she said, laughing, and we both chuckled. Your mother-in-law seems to know more about the stores than we do. Having mother-in-law check out the stores of companies we're interested in investing in is a good research strategy. It's not about the money. I genuinely love these wonderful in-laws. Ever since becoming estranged from sister-in-law, I've been free from her influence. With my expertise in asset management, I've been able to alleviate the in-laws' concerns for their retirement. As I await my husband's return, my days are filled with peaceful smiles.